and welcome. These are horse racing selections for Wednesday, the 20th of September. I am Flat Cap Callum and I'm hoping you are all very, very well. Okie doke, start of the Cap Callum week, or is it? Because we had a bonus video on Monday and thankfully it was a good one. There's always trepidation when you put out bonus videos on days that you're not necessarily expected to see how it goes. And yeah, there's been a few times on this channel where I've made lots of extra effort in my life just to make a video, and then it's gone pretty terribly. But it was a good day Monday, so we'll get back to that. As far as selections for Wednesday goes, very quiet day. I've scrabbled together a Yankee. It's a low price one by my standards, so I wouldn't even class it as Bahamas if all 4 won. Not that we're going to turn it down. So we've got a Yankee, but low prices by my standards. I think they're like 7s, 8s, 10s, and 14s, something like that. And I've got a little bit of an unusual one. We've got a win combo bet across 5 horses, 3 races. So a win combo bet. So the total stake for Wednesday is £11. So tiny smidgen over half a day stake. So small investment. I'm thinking Thursday might be a little bit more, but not loads. And then Friday we're back in the game because Air gets really going. Air does start Thursday, but Air get going on Friday. We've got the Air Bronze Cup. So for those of you unfamiliar, Air Gold Cup Saturday, that's a really decent quality 6 furlong sprint. Because there's so many entries, you get the Air Silver Cup on the same day, and the day before you get the Air Bronze Cup. So there are 3 different 6 furlong sprints at Air. So we'll be looking at if there's any draw buys come Friday, and we'll come back to draw buys, but come draw buys on Friday because we've got a couple of 6 furlong races that might inform Saturday. But also, as I said, on Friday we've got Air starts. We've got Kempton is the official channel meetup this Friday at Kempton Park. We won't know till tomorrow whether or not there's any races that will be splitting divisions and therefore earlier race. So currently the first race is 5:15. There's a chance that I think they might split one of those races because of the amount of entries. So it might end up being a bonus race. So it might be a 4:45 start. My plan's to be there by 4:30. That is the plan. 4:30 is what my aim is to get there. And yeah, I think weather's looking like we might be all right. So what I think the plan might be is I'll try and be by the parade ring at 4:30. I'll be wearing a hat. You'll spot me. It's not normally packed. So yeah, 4:30 the parade ring. That's where I'll be. But if you come in later, then it's not going to be too hard to find. So yeah, whether people want to just turn up and just ignore me, then that, fine, do that, try that. I don't know. So that's Friday. So we've got Kempton and we've got Air, and I hadn't actually said this, I don't think, before, but one of the other good things about this Kempton meeting on Friday is it coincides with the return of Dundalk. So as long-time viewers will know, I love a bit of Dundalk over in Ireland. It's the only all-weather track in Ireland if you kind of exclude Laytown's beach track. All through all the autumn, winter, I like having a little dabble with Dundalk. So Dundalk, it's the start of Dundalk coming back to it. So it'll be Dundalk most Friday nights now, and then it'll be also some Wednesday nights for Dundalk as well. But whilst Kempton evening meetings going on, there'll also be the evening meeting at Dundalk. Then we've got Saturday, we've got proper Air and stuff, and so yeah, we've got some more interesting stuff Friday, Saturday. So very quiet Wednesday, and it will be quiet-ish Thursday, but yeah, there might be a little bit more at Listowel for me on Thursday. I'm a little bit more interested in Thursday possibly, and Chelmsford might bring up a few things. That's the outlook for the week. So what else I need to do, I need to go through Saturday's breakdown in full. We had 1 horse in the comments on Sunday which was no good. I then need to go through Monday's results. Then we had 4 in the comments on Tuesday, no good. I think the last one placed if you were Sky Bet. For most people it was no good. So the comments have not been good on these 2 days. I've got to go through the tips for Wednesday. I've got a couple of golf. I'll just do the golf now because it's super quick. So for anyone interested in the golf, I had a good look through the French Open, and there's a few borderline in it. I whittled it down to two. So if you want my golf interest, the two that I would put up, my number one pick for this weekend is Marcus Kinhult, Swedish player, round about 100 to 1. You want to look around. Hills are paying 8 places, Sky 8 places, Paddy are only 7. But yeah, it should be around about 100 to 1. Marcus Kinhult, Swedish player. He's my number one pick for the weekend. And I was umming and ahhing. I was like, no, I'm going to go 2 on the list. So my second golfer for this weekend, we're going to go back in the past. I think this might be Henny time. So Henny caused us much angst when he started to play a lot more regularly on the European Tour. But Henny du Plessis, South African player for those unfamiliar, he's playing himself into form, I think. Whether or not he's ready to pop just yet, not sure. But he had a good game last week. And he's genuinely just coming back to form. He kind of just lost himself. He was doing really, really well, and I think he even had a little dabble over in the live golf and whatever, and he just lost himself a little bit. But I feel like he's getting back to form. So Marcus Kinhult and Henny du Plessis are my 2 for the weekend. There was nothing doing in the side bets. So, right, Saturday review. I couldn't find I've had a mare tonight. I couldn't find the papers. I don't know where they've gone, whether I've inadvertently recycled them already, I'm not sure. But I couldn't find my papers, and then the internet's gone funny, so I'm having to upload the video off the laptop. Off the laptop, what am I talking about? I'm having to bounce my 4G signal off my mobile onto my laptop in order to actually download anything on the laptop. So that's just been a bit of a challenge. Anywho, Saturday. So Saturday, I think I wrote in the comments, it was one of them days, you either thrive on days like that where you go, oh, could have been, or it does you nothing too much and you go, it's not for me. So it was some close calls Saturday. We had 30 on, 30, 21 back is what I got it. I think if you were Sky, you would have made a bit of profit. And 365, I think the prices were definitely preferable for 365. We had 11 races, 17 horses. We had 1 winner, box to box, which that was the one I was going to mention about draw bias. So what I'll do is after I've done, so I've already done loads of preamble. Once I've done the tips for Wednesday, I'm then just going to go a little bit into draw bias because someone asked me a specific question about box to box and it's draw bias. So I want to mention that because it's useful to go into these things from time to time. Sometimes I leave big gaps before I talk about things, and sometimes I forget what I have and haven't talked about. I've been doing that many videos over the last sort of nearly 2 years. What on Saturday? Let me just spin through it. So we had a place double on bet 1. We had Balgawan and Foreseeable Futures. That was 18s and 25s. So it was a nice each way double on the first combination double. Second combo double was no good. Bet 3 we had that was my big double if you remember. It was 320 at Navan. Brieha placed really nicely. 25s backed into about 10s, and then Moliana. Moliana ridden by Molly Phillips. I don't know what happened there. Whether the horse got away with her or she just got it wrong, I don't know. But if you watch that race, the 325 Bath, yellow horse, green hat, I thought we were absolutely bang certain for a place. And then they come round that final little jink of a bend, and all the 4 horses that finished in the first 4 all just went on the rail, and Moliana just went wayward. Covered so much more of the track. I really don't understand. That would have been a really nice little place double, 25s and 50s, but it was not to be. So that was done. And then we had bet 4 where we had Future Proof and Foreseeable Future. They both placed then it was that 520 Doncaster Titian inexplicably was in the top 4 the whole way through the race and managed to end up 5th, which Sky paid, no one else did. That would have been a really nice return. So that was frustrating. Then we had bet 5, which was Huskari placed for Coral 365 and Sky. We had box to box win and win nicely, and then the 410 Simply Sondheim was second. So it was a place treble for some and not all. So that was Saturday. And then Monday, we'll look back on Monday stuff because I didn't write that out. That was all in the comments. But Monday was a bonus vid. And yeah, that's the way I'm going to do the channel now. So it's 4 days. So we'll cover selections for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday racing. So that's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night and Saturday morning. That is the 4 channel schedule. If you also follow everything I do, then on Free Bets YouTube channel, I do my Saturday special on a Saturday morning. That comes out earlier than my regular video on here, and it focuses just mainly on the television races. So that's the 5 videos that I'm producing each week at the moment. Then in terms of any selections for Sunday, Monday and Tuesday, they will be by exception. I felt Monday was an exception. I put stuff in the comments for Tuesday. I didn't think that was an exception. Monday felt like an exception to me. And yeah, stand on that one. So we had 2 non-runners in the end, I think. So it was 10 horses, 8 races, 4 place, so 40%. If you follow what I'm doing on here, I will say to you regularly, 30% is about par. 35 and above should lend itself to a good day. We had 40%. So yes, it's only 4 horses, but fortunately, because we were due some luck after all that stuff on Saturday, we had 3 in the same bet, and it was with a non-runner, and that really helped. So bet 1, there was 3 struck out and a non-runner, so that was all done. It was bet 2 that did the damage. So we had 320 Listowel Shajack. That drifted to 22, so some will have benefited from that. The channel took it at 16s. We had 355 Listowel, Max Express 33s. I think it was 20 SP. I had a 10p raw deduction, so it was the equivalent of me getting it at 29.7 to 1, if you want to talk about it like that. Then we had a non-runner, and we had the 540 Listowel Dancing Dame backed in. It was a 25p rule for deduction, so 16s on the channel. Therefore, it meant it was a 12 to 1 shot for the channel. It SP'd at 6s. And yeah, 20p each way Yankee, paid 69.36. Then we had singles on the lot, and including the refund. So it led for a really good day. Now I know, because now I'm not putting all the bets on a channel account like I used to be with the Sky account, so I used to have to put them all on, then do the video, and it took a bit longer. Now what I do is, after I've done my video, I then go and place the bets myself with a bookmaker, and it's the same bookmaker, and it doesn't have to be the best one. It's just, therefore I've got some barometer, and it helps with Rule 4s too. So I placed that bet with Paddy Power, and I know that it paid about £30-35 more when I placed that bet directly off the channel, because I got better prices on some of them. Max Express was 40s. I got the drift on Shajack at 22s. So yeah, it all meant so. What it means is that we had a couple. We had another place double as well. But anyway, the channel got it as 21.50, 81.29 back. But I know from what I did on Paddy Power, it paid about £115. So some will have done much better. It should have paid out for everybody. One thing it's important to reiterate is I can't always, and unless it happens super quickly, put any alternatives out. So in occasions like that, where now it's easier, I'm doing set stakes. If it's a 20p each way Yankee and there's a non-runner, your choice is you put another horse in of your own choice, or if you want to match the channel, then in essence what you do is the 20p each way Yankee, so that's 20p each way doubles, trebles, fourfold, becomes a 40p each way Trixie. So that's basically each way doubles and trebles, so it works out the same. And then an additional 20p each way single on the remaining 3 selections. That would be the exact same, so that's £4.40. So 20p each way singles on 3 horses, and then a 40p each way Trixie. That would basically be the same 440 that the channel's got. So if you're ever one of those people that wants to do exactly what the channel's doing, but there's a non-runner, that is how to achieve what the channel does on a Yankee. If that make any questions on that, shove it in the comments and answer it. Interestingly, I thought I'd share this because some will get excited and some won't. Some will just get annoyed and some won't, I think. So I did that non-runner I had in that bet too. I had 3 places and I had a non-runner. The backup horse was the horse that finished 6th in that big field race at Fairyhouse, where Sky paid the 6th and no one else did. So had that horse been a non-runner before I did the video, I would have had in there a horse that we would have been running on the last race at Fairyhouse. The 3 would have placed, and we'd be rolling onto a last race, and anyone with Sky would have hit the 4-time place, and nobody else would have done. So I'm really sorry if you were Sky. That is what you missed out on. But for everybody else, they'd have been absolutely spitting feathers again to have a 3 horses place at decent prices, and then have a 4th horse get done near the line and not get paid out. So On balance, I'm happier that that's the way it went down, the way that everybody benefited from free places and a non-runner. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. So what that means is the channel starts the week 59 up. We were losing for September 118, so we've halved the deficit. So we're 59 up for the week, but we're 59 down for the month. That is where we stand. And so, yeah, it was nice to just get a win, to be honest, to get something. Yeah, so, right, 15 minutes in. Do you want Wednesdays? I'll do Wednesdays. I'll do that now. All right, this is where we've got to with Wednesday. This is my small stakes. Well, not small stakes. It's small price, my standards. Come on, here we go. 150 Beverley. Jewel of Kabir. Very short price, but I honestly think that horse should be about 3-1 favourite. So, yeah, I think the sevens is good. You can get better than that. I've really kind of tried to make sure I've got very, very fair prices on these because I think there'll be a bit of price movement. So, unless anything completely changes while I'm uploading the video, yeah, Jewel of Kabir, you can get 15-2 eights in places. I think that should be 3-1 favourite. I'd make that. So I think there's good value in that horse. 340 Sandown, Radabarg 14-1. Watch out on that. Time making this video, not Sky, 365 are the ones who've been a bit short. 425 Listowel. It's the Kerry National. I had a right good look through. Gevray 8-1. Nothing I like to double figures, so that's what we've got with in the bet. Gevray 8-1, really decent quality handicap chase. You've always got a few that will spring up in that type of thing because some of those chases don't run as well as they do. They don't run consistently, but yeah, that's what we've got. And then the last one snuck in 530 Yarmouth hiatus at 10s, 14s I think 365. So that one's best on 365 and that one's worse. So it swings and roundabouts for this one at the time of making this video. But hiatus at 10s. 20p each way Yankees, that's the 440. I've got a £1 win single on Jewel of Kabir because I like it. Yeah, it could get. It's an absolute donkey race and it's a classified stakes, but I still make that horse the favourite. And then we've got 50p each way single on Radaburg at 14s, and I've left singles on the bottom two. So Sky are best because they are. I think there might be 4 there. I think that might be why. They're 6 there, same as Paddy's. So Paddy and Sky are 6 there. Quite a few bookies are 4 there. So it works out Sky best, Paddy second best, 365 Coral joint third best, and then Betfair, Betfred, Betway. Possibly Unibet, but I didn't double check Unibet. So that's bet 1, that's 640. And then my win combo bet, as mentioned, you want a Bob bookie, so that a bookie paying best price guaranteed is what you want on this. So your Corals, your 365s, your Paddies in the morning. We've got the 205 Yarmouth, small one, Elusive Angel 7-4. And then we've got 4 o'clock Beverley, 2 options there. We've gone for the front 2 in the market, but I think both should be shorter. A up, it's Maggie 7-2, Count D'Orsay 7-2. I definitely have them more around the 5-2 kind of mark, but yeah, it wouldn't surprise me that either of them drifted, to be fair. But yeah, it's a competitive race in one regard, but I think those are the clear best 2 chances of winning that race. And then the 415 Sandown, slightly bigger, Tango Tonight 9-2, Sly Madam 17-2, 10s in places. So the stake is you put all 5 in your bet slip, and it will give you 8 combinations of doubles. So it's 40p win doubles, 8 of them, and then 35p win trebles, 4 possibilities of a treble. So it's 12 bets, and it works out as 460. Any 2 of those winning, and we make a slight profit. There's some combinations of 2 winning. So if it's from legs 2 and 3 and they win, then we make it. We make a reasonable profit percentage terms. And then clearly what we're looking for is we're fishing to try and hook ourselves at 3 winners here, but it's hard to do. It might look easy when you put prices like this out and you think, well, surely you come up with that. If it was as easy as that, everybody'd do this bet all the time and they'd make a load of money, wouldn't they? So I only do these sort of things when I've got the right sort of occasion. I think it was just about there for that one. So 460 is your bet. That is bet 2. That is the extent. That's the £11 staking plan. So I've reviewed, we've gone through stats. I said I was going to talk about draw bias and tipster competition. I need to give you a quick update on the tipster competition. So we had 45 valid entries this weekend. Only 12 made profit. That's the smallest amount of percentage that's made profit. 64% lost everything. That's the biggest percentage of losing everything. So we only had 12 made profit. There was a calculation error I want to flag to Anthony Hopkins. We were between Steve and I think we both, first time we did it, we both got it wrong, and then Stephen's figured it out. So so the top 5 from this Saturday were Shozman, an absolute brave bet, 10-point win on Anaf, 15-2 it won, so or 7-1 it was it. 70-point win. So 70 points, cracking result for Shozman, well done. Then we had debutant Cat Booth making a £20 profit, joint second with Day 51. That's Day 51's first profitable week. So the front 3 there were coming out of all angles, non-expected. Then we had Anthony Hopkins, £15 as 4th, and then Drawman was 5th at £14. That was the top 5. And then what that puts overall is, and interestingly, overall, I'll give you the top 10, but the total value of points won between that top 10 is less after this week than the week before. So if you add up all of the money the top 10 have made now, it's less money than the top 10 had made a week ago. So overall, as a collective, we went backwards. So Des Gibbons, still number 1, lost his money, but still number 1 at £52. Shozman has burst into the top 10 at £50 at number 2. Eugene Rooney, last week's number 2, is now this week's number 3, £37.60. Drawman is up into the top 10 with £34.40. Neil Lindsay has moved up to £30 in 5th place. Ian Nicol down to £25. Then you had example, so John, I think it's John P, £23.75. Didn't even enter this week and moved up the leaderboard. So there's a couple that did that. They moved up the leaderboard without playing because they didn't lose, they didn't win, but most people lost, therefore they moved up the leaderboard. And then we got Kevin Mark in 8th, Callum Angel 9th, and Mark Dreyfus 10th. That is the top 10. So, reminder, you can enter anytime you want. It's not like if you haven't played before, you can't play again. You pick and choose which weeks you want to play. Doesn't matter if you miss a week, miss a month, it's up to you. I'll give you a running total when we get to the end of September of who won September and the running total, and that's kind of how it works. So we'll have an overall shout out to the winner of the week, but we'll also do winner of the month, and we can kind of have a bit of maybe have a mini Hall of Fame or something for each monthly winner. But yeah, this weekend will be interesting with Air Silver Cup and Gold Cup. I think there'll be some big prizes knocking about. So as opposed to these small ones. Interestingly, though, on Saturday, all winners were short prices in terms of all single figures. No favourites, and amongst the channel, only 3 out of the 6 winners were tipped. And that's exactly what I've been talking about the last few weeks about how the results. I think the results shifted today because the weather shifted. But up until yesterday, Monday, I think what you were looking at was the same thing. You were getting low on favourites, but single figure prices, not a lot of big prices, but therefore it's harder to come by because you've got the sort of people in the in-between market. You've got a lot of people who back shorties and favourites, and then you've got the other group of people, like the people who generally probably follow this channel, that are more interested in trying to hook a higher price. You've got less people focused on what horse is going to be 5, 6, 7, 8 to 1, but those small amount of punters doing that, they'll be the ones that have thrived in the last few weeks. Now we're back into territory. The weather shifted. We've had a bit of rain. We're going to find that you'll have a lot more bigger prices knocking about in terms of framing now. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see if the number of favourites pick up a little bit as well. But yeah, really interesting kind of what happens when the weather gets stable. The big prices reduce, but so do the favourites. There you go. All right, draw bias. The draw bias. So the question on Saturday I got was box to box, which I tipped at Chester, which was the only winner. So it was nice to have a winner at the weekend. And no one else tipped it in the tips competition, I should add as well. But box to box, it was drawn 10 runners running at Chester. And the question was I worried about the draw? So Chester and Beverley, I would say, the tracks that most people understand that there is some sort of draw bias at play, and generally speaking, low numbers are favoured over smaller distances. That's sort of kind of when people start getting to racing and they start understanding about stuff. Beverley and Chester are what gets turned up as draw bias. Now, a couple of things I would point out. So number one, that specific race at Chester's 10 furlongs, and even though you might find this draw bias even higher up at Chester because they go around tight bends, the 10 furlong start actually is less of a bend than some of the other start points. So you're not diving straight into a bend, so you've got time. And with a horse like Box to Box, because it was it's always a quick starter and it wants to get to the front, it got round, and that's what I was hoping would happen. Now, when I'm picking that horse, was I thinking it was a dead cert to win? No, but did I think it was overpriced at 8-1? Yes, because what you have is when you've got draw bias. Draw bias doesn't say that horse is you've got to be in draws 1 or 2, stalls 1 or 2, and you win, and if you're in a high draw you lose. What it means is over a substantive period of time, if there is a draw bias, it favours a certain numbers. Now, I use draw bias in different ways. Two ways, really. Two main ways. Number one, for stuff like Chester and Beverley, you want to work against the draw bias. And why do you want to do that? Because more people know that the draw bias is there. More people know the draw bias is there. It's more likely to be mentioned in the Racing Post or Sporting Life or whatever newspaper you might be reading. It will say badly drawn. If it says badly drawn, brilliant, because I'm working against the bias of the punter. Trying to work on angles here. So what you get is you get a horse that might have a high draw because it's got and people will go, well, it's on the wrong side of the draw. But that actually works in your favour because you get more value. So it doesn't mean because that box to box was drawn 10, it wasn't had any chance. It just meant it was less likely based on the draw bias. If you actually look at the running style of the horse, look at where the stalls are drawn, you get to that level of detail, you can look at how you can overcome bias. But in other situations, so I don't know, like a good example would be what was it today? Tuesday, Redcar. Generally speaking, sprint distances, if you read publications, they would allude to the fact that over sprint distances at Redcar, you want to be more likely drawn lower numbers. But if you look at the results from today, that didn't necessarily pan out. That stalls 1 and 2 were top 2 in all the races. You'll have occasional meetings that perpetuate draw bias, where you will have a whole string of races because there's a particular strip of ground or a particular running style that's worked. Feel like it's just happened to be coincidental sometimes, but sometimes it can be about strips of ground where actually if you get a horse that likes to lead and it gets out stall 1 and it goes from the front and that's it, you'll see certain patterns like that. But overall, bias doesn't mean you've lost and or you're going to win. The other way of bias, and you'll hear me talk about this, is more when you're looking at the big sprint field races. So they tend to be anything up to a mile, but normally on a straight course. And I'm talking like 16 runner plus type handicaps. On those races, sometimes it pays to understand where the draw is or the pace bias is, because and it happened at the weekend in whatever it was, a Portland handicap. I had 3 horses drawn high. If you watch the way the race panned out, they all went towards the other side. Haymaker, by far and away, was the best horse that was drawn high, but could only finish 8th for the staking plan. But on that day, trying to work out, well, that's going to happen on that race is very, very tricky. But on that sort of situation, you pretty much had no chance drawn high. You could have had the best horse in the race, you wouldn't have had a chance because the pace seemed to lend itself to going the other way, and the ground was better. And on any given meeting, that can change. So you can look back at certain courses over a course of a year and have a look and go, is there a bias? You then have to go into, and I do this sometimes, I then look back at certain meetings from year to year to year to year. So on the Portland, I looked through, I definitely was aware that lower was going to be favourable for the Portland, but I didn't think it was going to be unachievable to win from high. It absolutely was this weekend. So yeah, highs had no chance. It was low to middle, and anything drawn high just was cooked. That isn't always the case. So hopefully this draw bias ramble is making sense to people. What I'm saying is, I will actively go against the draw bias sometimes picking a selection because it means there's more value in the horse, because the general population of punters will not like the horse because of the draw bias. When I make selections, it's not just on the draw or just the ground or just the course or just the jockey or just the trainer or just the horse's previous form or the pace. You kind of have to take everything into account. You don't have to, but that's what I do, because if it was just one thing, and I've said this before, there's only one thing I didn't. If the only thing I didn't like was a jockey, you should never knock the horse out just because of the jockey. And the same thing would be the draw. If you like everything about the horse, and the only thing you don't think is good is the draw bias, that's not the reason to not back the horse if it's just one thing. Now, there are situations like Saturday in the Portland where you were done for, but you couldn't have necessarily predicted it would be so severe. So yeah, cool, right. Tips, horses. I think I've done everything. If there's anything more, I'll carry on tomorrow, shall I? I'll do that. It's a half-hour video. Come on, I think you've had your fill. Some of you haven't even paid this month. I tell you, it's honestly like, just trying to run this subscription service on YouTube where everybody gives me nothing, and I don't want to confuse people. There is no subscription service. I'm just being silly. Clearly, this is a free service. I do this out of my own free volition. That was one little quick thing. Those bonus videos I'm doing, I'm not somebody who does my videos out of absolute principle and goes, smash that like button and subscribe now, because I'm not an absolute dick. Do you know what I mean? Some people will disagree. I'm just not into that, right? I want the right people to find the channel, not everybody to find the channel. So I've got no need to shout about stuff like that. But what I would say, if you don't want to miss the videos where I'm doing bonus videos, the only true way to make sure you get it is to subscribe to the channel. So that means you press the subscribe button and then you should get a notification. And when I say notification, like a little red orange dot appears in your subscriptions. It's not like you have to get 59 emails to say I've launched a video or anything like that. Nothing goes in your email unless you put a preference on. It literally just gives you a little dot. So it's a very helpful thing for when I'm doing videos when you're least expecting it. So that would be my advice. It's entirely up to you whether you subscribe or not. But it will give you the most up-to-date information about when I've launched a new video. So if you just want the regular schedule, you're fine. But I'm also aware that people sometimes miss out if I do a bonus video, and the way to know is subscribe or just keep checking back 100 times a day. That might be it. All right. Thank you very much. I'll be back for Thursday's racing on Wednesday night. See you then. Bye-bye.